worst team in NA.
Down to the last two. Hey, Washington was the worst team in NA in 2019. This in 2020, yeah, no doubt. They aren't even 20th, but they've that.
So due to the playoffs, Washington was like the fourth best team in NA. No, third best team in NA.
I think no, you're right. They are
But
the worst in the playoffs because they couldn't take out Vancouver. Did they play against Boston? No, that was Houston. I'm thinking
all
back
right.
to September.
So what I see from this team is just mediocrity slapped across the board. I'm happy that Fried, Linkser, and Fire are getting chances again. I mean, I think Fried could have honestly started over Hawk at times, but that's neither here or there. Shredlock, I think he's a pretty flexible main tank. And you don't see that a lot of main tanks is like that type of flexibility where he can like, sure he's not like he's flexible, but he can't like he can play the Ryan, the Orisa, the Monkey, and all that. He just has to iron them out. Uh, Teru, good signing. Now, if he got hard benched by Pelican, I mean, can you really put that on Teru, or can you or does that just show how good Pelican was?
I mean, yeah, just because you get a good player doesn't mean that good players can't be, benched under them. So
Good
definitely
can be great.
an argument.
Yep.
Yeah.
You just see less of them, so I'm hoping that should give them a chance to lead. Which has no other Korean talent. Which
it's good.
Most.
It's a good move as well to bring back some of your Korean fans. No.
Yeah, that's the main reason why they've stayed away from it. Because they've gone with this NA roster and then suddenly coming back to bring more Korean talent. It's like, hey, so what was the point of all this again? The identity shift is going to slow.
We don't know how to didn't know how to make our Korean players happy. Dalton gets to play hit scan. Which is nice. Shredlock kind of put Dalton under the flex DPS role. Shockwave was that good. And, it's going to be good to see Dalton actually get the plays, create tracers, all that. Linkser just kind of exists. I mean, I'm happy to see Linkser, like, on a team. I think everyone loves Linkser. When Linkser is on fire, he can compete with, like, Glister and KSB. When he's cold, he sucks. You can say that with a lot of hit scan players, but Linkser's just that definition of hot and cold.
For sure. Definitely, a player that I think needed a move. I'm just disappointed that this is the team he landed on. Obviously, not a ton of homes out there for him, but if you were to vacuum this roster into a bag with the coaching staff, I'm like, okay, maybe they could be all right. Let's look at everybody else, and we shine a flashlight into the basement. We see teams like the Shock and teams like the Gladiators and teams like Washington and teams, that are just like hitters after hitters. And it's like, on paper, it's like fine. And that's like a stretch even to say that. And then when you compare them to the peers, especially within the region, it's like, fuck me. Like, this is going to be a hard ask for this team to actually compete. Like, it's tough, like, at least on paper. Again, I give a lot of respect to Flubby. I think he's done a lot of good work, especially in tier 2. I think the roster's, again, fine. I like Fire. I think he, needs a chance to compete. Hopefully Linkser has some new, gets a breath of fresh air on this roster where he can, bring it back. He's obviously shown it in the past, but it seems to be, it feels, again, like you said, hot and cold. Yeah, it's tough to argue that this isn't the worst team in the league, even when they have some sort of merit to them. So it's disappointing, but if this is the worst team, I'm kind of okay with it.
I just don't have much to say about them.
Yeah, they're pretty boring.
The cards are laid out a lot clearer than some of the other unknowns like Paris, I think.
For sure.
Just because they've kept 3 of these players. And you're kind of trying to understand why they're justifying keeping particular players on. They seem like they're good enough. Like, there's nothing more.
Wolf. All right, last team and
Certainly not
of
the league.
last but not least, we have the Washington Justice. They have Mag. They have Fury. They have Rhea. They have Decay. They have Jerry. They got Tuba. They got Bebe and Closer.
Your tone of voice accurately describes how I feel about this team. It's like a giant incline, and then you come to the supports, and you're left hoping that the questions or the answers that they found in Bebe and Closer are exactly what this team needs, or whether or not there's kind of just some kind of exhaust pipe that's just sort of pushing out what's left of the budget. Definitely spent quite a lot.
I think Washington could be slightly overrated. And what I mean by that is they're like, oh, this team like easily could beat the Shock. Hell no. No.
I'd like to talk to those people. Those
they
people sound like they have fun times and go to good parties. I want what they're smoking.
They could easily beat the Shock. They're better than the Glads in Florida.
I want this.
I mean, I think that's a little bit more reasonable, but even then, it's like the distinction of Easley's.
But what do you mean, Vol? Closer in scrims has been popping off.
Oh yeah, scrims.
Yeah,
love me some of them.
Yeah, come on.
Let me get some of them
Clearly a
after
top
scrims.
2 team.
Yeah.
For many and boats of like I see Decay, that's great. Jerry, it's alright, but it's better than nothing.
Tuba, is he that good, or is he just good on his comfort picks?
Oh, and what about Closer? But if we just say in isolation, I think Bebe is possible. Closer is possible. Do they stack up? Different metas. They look.
Just saying, Lasher and Rain are available. Just saying. But what do I know? Maybe they have a plan. It's like Volo said, the Coach Supreme probably has a plan. Like he obviously sees something in Bebe and Closer and Rhea. Rhea's never gonna get playtime. But
I mean, yeah,
probably not.
Aim God, to be honest. Maybe they didn't.
No. Yeah.
Carry on with.
I think the writings on the wall with in regards to Aim God, I think that's public enough that that's probably not.
Right?
Say that again?
Did Aim God retire?
Not a clue.
Still in stasis.
Just kinda,
I'm pretty sure he's in Lucky Future. I forgot now.
A quick check. Gotta find out.
I think their supports are fine. I don't think they don't jump off the page. I think they're serviceable at best, and I think they're going to get carried by their star players, and I think that's good enough. I think we've seen that in the past, that is a recipe for success, and I think there's arguments to be made, especially with the advent of hero pools, to say that it might be the best gamble that you can take is taking players like Mag and Decay and throwing them together and just, trying to be built for the meta and hoping that you're going to land, heads, or you're going to flip a coin and land heads, nab a title.
Let's just get an F for Janu. Oh man. Poor Janu.
True.
Yeah, Janu, I don't think he's officially retired. He's just kind of like
inactive.
He's on the decline for interest in coming back to the Overwatch.
I mean,
it's because he's not what he was back in season 2.
Well, it says it was on December 12th that he.
Well, I just think Janu wasn't. He just hit his peak. He hit his peak, and then he just kind of was a downcline from there. And I want to be honest. I'm going to keep saying it. Vancouver, I think, ruined the careers of a lot of players. Now, some got new life, like Twilight.
Sure.
And some were renewed.
Tizzy Fissure got messed. Like Jay. I'm actually.
I think Jay Hong.
That situation.
He might have done that to himself. To be fair.
Yeah. Stuff dirty. But before that, of course, the org that he was currently playing for 1 month.
Respect for
the
Jen.
best
Jen
Toucan.
respect for Jen for like quickly just like giving Jae Hong a slap across the face. Yeah, that
proverbial slap or the actual slap?
Jen has one of the most respectable orgs. Just like, but yeah, I mean, Justice they're gonna be like a top 5 team. I'd say like 4 or 5. It's just that support line that's dragging them down, and it just like not having a good support line can hurt you really badly.
100%. I mean, to be fair, and I agree. Like, just to clarify the position, I agree that like if there's a role that you want to have like a hitter on or some sort of like threat potential talent, Flexiport definitely one of those roles. We've seen it time and time again throughout the history of this game that this is a role that you really can make plays on. Bebe's not a name that jumps off the page, but we're seeing teams crop up that really show you that maybe you don't need, maybe you can overcompensate in other areas. I look at Soul and I'm like, man, creative's fine. I don't think he's like amazing, but they make up for it elsewhere. And I think, Justice is going to be another one of those teams that can, just get by with what they have. I think Bebe, won't be a playmaker by any means, but I think he'll be a role player, play within the team. I think closer. Doesn't get it's tough to get a read on him because he just didn't play last season. Like that just kind of went under the radar for a lot of people. Everybody's like, "Where's Toucan?" It's like, guys, closer like hasn't played in like months.
Months. That's pretty powerful.
So it's figuring out what he's been up to, if he's actually playing well. Obviously, has a successful past. Rumors and talks of intangibles that make him sought out after. So we'll have to see if those come to fruition. But on paper, this team, again, I agree with Toucan, top 5, somewhere within there. 3 to 5 probably.
Yeah, I think they could bust the cracks.
Sure. Yeah. Very competitive
Yeah.
across the season for sure.
Yeah. Mag Fury, kind of nutty.
Kind of nutty.
Kind of nutty. Hey, Tuba. Okay, nutty. Okay, this team is hella top heavy. The more I keep looking at it, this team is
they've got a bunch of fucking stars on this team that
they got like 3. They have 3 stars, and then the rest are just kind of